So I've got it.
Matt is recording. Awesome. So you go ahead and do your thing, dude.
You a swig of water first.
Swig of water and a cigar.
All right, so let's get going here. All right, here we go. What's going on, y'all? Wanted to bring in a good friend of mine. His name is Aaron Parker. We've known each other for about 14, 15 years now. Started off playing football in high school with each other and just hit it off. We've always been the type of friends that just feed off of each other. Anytime that, I feel like something needs to happen or change, I'll call Aaron. A lot of times Aaron will call me to get my type of response, and we've always been able to be honest with each other and give each other the honest feedback that we need from an outside perspective to really get things going again. And every time we pick up a gold nugget, one of us picks up a gold nugget from the other. And it's been a really valuable friendship for both of us for the last few years. So I want to really, a lot of the times when I talk to Aaron, I can get him on fire and I can get him going. And that's when the gold nuggets come out. So my goal here today, Aaron, is to get you on fire. And hope you share some of that knowledge with us.
That shouldn't be too hard with you, man.
So, Aaron, I guess let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what you're doing.
Man, well, where do you want to start? You want to start business? You want to start personal life? There's a lot going on.
Start with whatever you want to start with. What's the main thing that's kind of the scenario you're focused right now?
Sure, dude. Well, we go way back as far as, high school football and playing that kind of thing. And I moved to Nashville about almost 9 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so you remember I was pursuing music pretty heavily. We were always, musical buddies, and I went on tour, with a lot of great acts. I had amazing management, amazing agent, and I was really moving up the ladder in the music. It seemed like it was moving in the right direction, or the direction that I had worked for. But at that point, I got torpedoed into a divorce that I didn't really see coming. So I had a wake up call, right? I think a lot of guys, you're going to get the wake up call. I'm learning now, whether it's when you're young or when you're old. If you're still a boy and you have not become a man yet, I think a lot of the guys that we talk to in relationship dynamic world all understand that it's going to happen. And it definitely happened to me with that divorce. So as soon as that divorce hit, I basically stopped doing music. Music wasn't paying anything. As you know, you travel to all these places and it's real fun, and you're the cool guy and all the girls want to get with you. But you're not really making any money, People think you're making money, but you're not. And all your money goes back into travel and goes back into, pursuing the dream, right. Which was really hard for me as a money motivated kind of guy. I don't like being broke. But I stuck it out. So during that point, I'm out of the house and I literally have $500 in my account, and not enough to pay rent for sure that month. I have no money. I'm sleeping in my van at the gym. I had this big 15-passenger van. I do what?
So, man, how did that feel? I know that's got to be a hit, man. I mean, I remember you calling me and telling me about this, but you seemed so cool about it. You seemed so collected about it. Like, what was going through your mind at that point?
Well, I'm cool about it now. I wasn't then. Then.
Convince me.
It was a torpedo to my life, man. I have a little boy, and anybody who goes through a divorce like that, that's kind of unforeseen. It's like blindside, and you don't know where to go next. You don't know, what you're going to do. You know that you're about to fork out some money on some attorney fees.
Yeah,
so that awaits you. It's just a dark place. And a lot of guys go into alcoholism or drugs or, pills, really, probably. I didn't go into any of that. That's never been my MO. I usually channel my energies into making money. My dad always used to say it's real hard to be sad with a stack of hundreds in your pocket. And he's been really good to me in that regard, and I do believe that. I believe that it's really hard to be sad with a stack of hundreds. Now, what spectrum of sad may be a different story, but in that situation, those words help me a lot. So
void.
It does. At least you can eat, you can do things, right? But I was in a place, man, where I didn't have any money. I was like, and I was living at the gym up the road. They have a 24-hour gym that I was going to, and I was sleeping in my I had to take in these seats out of my van, this 15-passenger van, to haul gear, and I was sleeping in that area. I went to REI a while back and got some of their sleeping pads to where it was easy to sleep in the back.
So you were really living the hashtag van life. I saw that this week, and I looked at a few of the videos, and a lot of the vans are actually pretty cool. But I know that being forced in this situation probably wasn't hashtag van life.
Well, my van was not like built for that in a way. I think some of those are, like, I've seen those that you're talking about. So mine was pretty uncomfortable. But what it was, man, it was in the cold of winter. It was in like December, January. And it was a real wake-up call. It was the wake-up call that I needed. I peered out of this little window at like 5 a.m. in my van because I would go take a bath in the gym, right? Because it's 24 hours, and I would take a shower there and then come sneak back into my van and figure out my life. And I would go in, and I saw this guy cleaning windows on the plaza that was right there, and he had a squeegee. And I was like, holy shit, that dude's over there cleaning windows with that squeegee, and he's making money with a stick and some rubber on it.
This is only a thought process that would come from you. Everyone else would have ignored the window cleaner, but Aaron saw deeper into it.
Well, for me, being broke, dude, what's funny is you can go one of two ways. You can either go and see opportunity, or you can see devastation and go down that hole. And I've been very lucky to have a family that believes in seeing opportunity. And you and I, we've read countless books through doing sales and stuff like that I was still reading to see opportunity through the hard times, and to find the problem and see an opportunity in the problem. Right. And so that was my MO through that. I was looking at this guy, and I was like, well, that's what I could do that. I could make money doing that. I could get back on my feet doing that. So I literally drove to Lowe's that day and picked up, a squeegee set and knocked on every single door throughout the plaza, right? Fast forward a year, my first real year in business, we did over 6 figures the first year in business doing pressure washing and window cleaning. So it's a testament that, like, I feel like you hit that rock bottom place, whatever it is. For me, it was the divorce. It wakes you up in a way that even if you have a good family, you have a good mom and dad, or you have good brothers, supportive, grandmother, whatever, you have people who love you, right?
Right.
It doesn't matter, because you have to produce.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
To love you.
You have to love you, and you also have to produce in this world, right? Absolutely. And there's no way around that. You can't skirt that. You have to just get out, and you have to just make it happen. So
right.
At this point, it was like now or never, do or die, right? Just go knock on every door. Who cares, right? Who cares if they don't want your service, man? Just go do it. And I learned a lot about myself. I learned that you can move really fast in business, and you can build something from nothing if you really want to.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty incredible, and I definitely could see that in you, just from what we've done together growing up and whatnot. I know that a lot of people don't realize this, but Aaron and I were in a multi-level marketing company at one point. And a lot of people roll their eyes at multi-level marketing companies, and maybe I don't know about you, Aaron, but I had some eye rolling experiences where I look back on it and I'm just like, man, and it just makes me cringe kind of. But overall, I feel like that was a total blessing. It turned out to be a total blessing in our lives because we were exposed to a certain element that we never would have been exposed to, with that being self development and personal development. And I know that you kept on track after we got out of it better than I did. And so we saw what happened to me. So you kind of got forced into it differently than I did. I kind of let myself get in that position, but still, for you to get into that spot, you basically got your back put against the wall and had to fight your way out. And you did that. So, what was one of the greatest things you think you learned? What would you say was the most impactful thing, or what was the learning curve that did it for you?
Dude, I'm gonna tell you, man. If you look back on the all stars of that network marketing team, um, they're all like amazing presenters and amazing like how do you say it, dicticians of like they all present from stage, publicly speak, guys like you who aren't afraid to do the talks, and every one of them is like an all-star. And that's one thing that like any business would be honored to take on one of these people for their team, because they're just producers who make it happen. Now, a lot of multi-level marketing, because of how it works, a lot of them fall off and, people aren't that. But if they get through the portion, which you were one, I was one, and we had probably about 5 other guys who were just headhunters, dude.
Yeah.
And it's funny because if you look at all of them now, they're all successful as well, even if they're not in the business.
Yeah.
I think it's a type of person that gets involved and actually wins in that business.
Yeah.
And it really is revealing now more than it was then, looking at you and looking at us for what we've done. But the learning curve, man, here, I think learning curve in a way is, I think there's 2 ways to look at it. I think in one way, like when it comes to technology and when it comes to maybe playing a guitar, right? That's real. That's real. Okay. It's a real learning curve. I think when it comes to saying like starting your own window cleaning business, right? Or starting, some type of service-based business where you're having people go out and do these services, maybe even for you. You don't know how to do it. There's no learning curve. It's called just do it. That's what it's called. And I think sometimes we like to invent learning curve. We like to say, well, I got to get this and I've got to get this just right to where I can move here and do this. And
Yeah.
when your back's to the wall and you have nothing, like no money and no one cares, like people love you, but you're a 28-year-old man and you got to make it happen. The learning curve is called do it. That's
Right.
what it is. So, luckily, technologically, I wasn't having to learn any new programs or do anything like that. It was just called take your squeegee and knock on these doors and smile at these ladies and persuade them to let me, clean their areas. And that's been built out into a complete different company now. We're the top company in Nashville. I'm very grateful for. We have, 5 times the 5-star reviews of any company that's been open for more than a decade. We've only been open for a little over a year. And all of this has been cultivated on purpose. And what we've built our business on really, I think, is the aspect of being boutique, being high ticket, and being the most expensive in town. Okay. And that was really the tough thing for me, is like, you have 2 choices in, I think, all business. You can either compete with the masses or you can set yourself apart and say, like, I'm just not going to work for those rates. I'm going to be very expensive, but I'm very good at what I do. And only, those who are going to pay my price, I'm going to work for them. And
Absolutely.
that's a hard thing to get, especially when you have no money,
Yeah,
right? So you're
right.
trying to say, like, I'm not going to work for these people. And sometimes, dude, you just got to go out and get it done. But when you're cultivating a boutique business and you're wanting to create a high ticket and a high margin, which really, man, when you got a piece of rubber on a stick, the margin's pretty high. It's just time,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
see. So
right.
there's no expenditure. When I clean someone's house with a pressure washer, we always joke about it, but literally I'm spraying their water back onto their house with some soap. And the barrier to entry is the equipment. It's not, what we're spraying. So the margin is really high. So we're lucky with that. But that was the learning curve. The learning curve was having enough balls to ask the price I thought I was worth,
Right.
and consistently do that over time, and even over some people saying, "Man, you're too expensive."
Hmm.
Um, that's a big learning curve. I think that is very hard for people in any industry. Maybe it's fitness or coaching or anything. It's like you got a group of people in that world who charge a certain amount, and then you have like one or two who sit at the top, and they charge like 5 times what everyone charges. And you
Yes.
really have to understand that I think there is a part of that that is skill based, and they're just the best at what they do. But then there's a large portion of that price comes from just self aggrandizement and saying, I'm the best. And they
Right.
literally just say it and they charge like it, and people pay it.
Right.
Um, in some businesses, they call that like having a big slack adjuster. You sell small products for cheap prices, and then you have a big product that you sell for super expensive.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of that just has to do with having the balls to charge, man. I think.
No doubt. And it's interesting that you mentioned that because we think about learning curves, and they typically are long. Actually, if you want to be honest with it, there's no true shortcuts. There are skills, and skills have to be grown, and skills don't grow overnight. Skills are grown through repetition. And so I think a lot of the skills that you did have were developed when we were in that company, and then probably more for you afterwards, even when you continue to read those books and whatnot.
No
So,
question, for
so
sure.
there's really no life hack, but you definitely, I think you answered some great questions for a lot of guys, because a lot of guys question, hey, how much should I charge for my services, or what do I need to be doing? And like you said, just take action. You need to get out there and do something that's actually going to be productive rather than just busy. Um,
I say personally, what you should charge, if that's the question. One of my mentors from afar, Dan Kennedy, I've read a lot of his books and I have a bunch of his courses. And Dan Kennedy says you should charge the price you can stomach saying with a straight face.
yeah, I mean, hey, that,
That's the
that
price you should charge.
yeah,
Um, because what you're going to learn is it's hard to charge from your perspective, because for window cleaning, right? Like where we're from, no one does that.
right.
Clean their windows. Like when I was growing up, my mom would like take Windex, or when my grandmother came over, she would clean the window. We never had a company come clean our windows. So you
Right.
have no basis. So basically, if you were asking yourself, well, how much would you pay? And I would say, well, nothing, because I've never had that done. So, but if I was asking you as like a fitness guy who's been to the top in that world, what would you pay to have that done? You'll have a number, or you'll be like, well, dude, I already know how to run my diet. Like, why
Yeah,
would I pay you?
and I've
Right.
had guys that have quoted me some ridiculous prices, and I said no, and then I had guys that honestly actually became more knowledgeable than some others charged too low.
Sure.
And I was able to take advantage of that. But being able to have that experience of asking others and getting quotes from others, and then not even receiving responses from others as well.
That's huge. Yeah, you can't expect to be high ticket and don't have a response rate. You know, if you're the more high ticket and the more expensive you are, your response rate has to be almost concierge like. You have to be boutique, you have to be a pro, and communication back and forth has to be
Professional.
Point. Very, very, very professional.
And it's honestly kind of rude you don't respond to a potential client, you know. But it's like, what if you don't respond to a potential client? What, you know, it just that blows my mind. But so you started with window cleaning. Did it develop any further into anything else?
Well, at first I was just doing windows because that's all I could afford. That's all the equipment I could afford. So the unfortunate thing about just cleaning windows is it's not a real high ticket item. I mean, I think the most we've probably ever charged for window cleaning on an exterior window. Now we just do exterior windows. We don't go inside anymore. It's probably about $2,300, and that's good. That's good for a day. And that'll take us probably about a day to do that with like one or two guys. So that's a rarity. When I got a pressure washer, that changed the game as far as building a suite of services from pressure washing, window cleaning, gutter cleaning, exterior cleaning, all together, where we come and we do everything at one time for affluent families who want to get on the schedule yearly. Right. What that did is that's branched into more along the lines of coaching and building out automation systems for companies like mine or bigger than mine, and showing young guys who are getting involved in this world how to move really fast through automated and modulated courses online that I offer. And we'll be building out an offering here very soon. Just because I've learned that this world, there's a lot of guys out there wanting to make extra money in pressure washing or window cleaning. They just don't know what to do first.
Right.
Or to maximize and kind of reclaim their time back. If you get in this world, you could be doing everything, kind of living hell, because you're answering the phone, you're trying to take care of this, you're trying to do the jobs, you're trying to do it all. So I give them this like toolkit on what you should do incrementally first to maximize your dollar and to make sure that most of this is automated for you, where you're not having to like beat your head against the wall and lose out time with your family or lose out on money.
Absolutely. So what would you say is the path forward from here?
From here, I'll only be in this business for tops 4 years as far as owning a service company. Really, all it is for me is a case study. The path forward, I'll be offering more and more courses for service industry guys and gals who are wanting to build landscape, heating and air, exterior cleaning, pressure washing, carpet cleaning companies who are wanting to keep that one truck. I call it one truck, two guys, big profits type mentality, where you can make multiple six figures with one truck. And I know that because we're about to do it. But a lot of guys, they just do it on the side. But I'm sitting here to tell you, you can replace your income and some with this type of industry with one truck. And usually guys already have one truck. So that's the cool thing, is they can start where they are and change their family's financial situation with just importing some of these techniques that, I've learned trial by fire, but I distill it into the courses. So that's what's next for me. And then after that, it'll just be speaking tour and doing the personal development thing, like you.
Hey, yeah, that's the ultimate goal, man. So I mean, with this plan and whatnot, and you see it coming together, who would you say kind of inspired you? I mean, I know you were kind of put into a position where you really kind of had no choice; you just had to take action. But who was kind of the person that kind of kept the light, on for you, or kept that flame going for you, and possibly even mentored you, like I said, mentioned.
Sure. Well, good friends. I mean, we go way back. So through that process, right? Not everybody I obviously didn't choose to get into window cleaning. It's not something I ever even knew existed. That people did that, right? They go clean windows, like that's a
Yeah,
thing. Like it's not
nobody,
something
nobody knows.
yeah, right.
The, the thing about opportunity is a lot of people expect it to just come to them, but you can create it just as much, and actually probably most. People don't realize that if you're not looking for specific opportunities, they're never going to show up because it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Where with you, you were looking for a way to make money. You saw this guy with a squeegee, wiping windows down, and you thought to yourself, hey, and that opportunity snapped for you, and look what it's turned into. And I think that people just kind of don't look for the opportunities, and also just let it soak in their subconscious that, hey, I need to find a way to make more money, because a lot of people, their main thought process is, man, it sucks being broke, or I hate not being able to make any money. I wish that, and it's just this negative, negative, negative. But it's like, all right, I got to make some money,
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. No one cares.
No,
No one cares that like you're sad. No one cares that you're broke. People can pray for you. They can do whatever they want to do, but like literally no one cares. People have their own life. So
right?
once you can get past all of that victimization bullshit that you
Yeah,
keep feeding yourself, eventually you get into a place where you're just like, okay, either I make it happen or I suck. Like that's the thing. And if you back yourself to a corner, right, and you're just like, I'm either going to do this or I suck. Like that's it. Fine. But I'm not going to be the guy that sucks. That's just how I am. So I'm coming out swinging, and it may be ugly swings, man. I don't know. My layups aren't very good looking, dude, but it's a layup, bro. It's 2 points, right?
Right.
So it's like you have to start being able to be your own cheerleader, man. You have to, because if you got nobody cheering you on, like, dude, you may walk around your damn house in the morning talking to yourself, getting yourself jacked up because I got to make 20 cold calls here in a minute, right? Or I got to do something that I really don't feel like doing. But like the beauty is you can always come back to it. And once you understand that, like, and it's harsh to say that no one cares. I think that's harsh because people do care about you. But you have to also understand that people are very self-serving and they're not going to bail you out. Are you going to be 50 thinking someone's going to bail you out? Like that's
come to your rescue.
Like come to my rescue. No.
Exactly.
And here's the thing. Once you start learning how people who earn, and you and I are a lot alike in this regard. I buck the system a little more. I didn't go to college. So and I hated college. I hated everything about college because of what they were trying to indoctrinate me with. Everyone in my classes was stoked about making $50,000 a year. And right. I was just like, not stoked about that.
Yeah.
Working for who? Like, so I went on to music. But why are you jacked about that? Like that's not how do you eat on that amount? Now, there's like a certain amount of pride there that is healthy, and then there could be a certain amount of pride there that would be unhealthy. But what I did learn is, and I'm proud of myself for being in that place of rock bottom, and like you're saying, seeing an opportunity and saying, dude, this isn't optimal, right? This isn't what I want to do. I don't want to clean windows. That's not cool, man. Like you're sitting here with a squeegee and like rags on your belt. Like you're a janitor. Say what?
I said, you're definitely not a rock star,
You're not. You're not cool at all. And you come from being on stage. I mean, I was on stage with Travis Tritt, Alabama, like you name it, like big names going to, watching these cats who I know in the music industry walk past me as I clean windows at a gym because I got my membership for free after I started. And they see you and they're like, hey, man, what are you doing here? And it's like dude, yeah, it's like you just have to like grit your teeth and keep moving, right?
Right.
Keep going. Who cares, man? Screw what they think, right?
Right.
And you,
That's a tough thing to
rebuild yourself through that.
I mean, that's a tough thing to do, because I mean, people don't realize it. The main form of slavery that we see today is a mental slavery, and it's a slavery to the thoughts of others, and not necessarily like them, telling you what to do. The perspective that I'm talking about is when you are worried and you project what you're critical of yourself. You're your own worst judge, and you project that onto others, and it keeps you locked in a cage. So I can imagine just a normal person, or at least someone who's not as experienced with the things that we're experiencing, would be sitting there cleaning those windows and have someone walked up and just be completely embarrassed, and it would just deflate them completely. But you got to find a way to block that out, because if that deflates you and you're done, and what is there to go for? That dream that you had is gone. Yeah.
And so, the way that you get around that is by becoming high ticket. That's how you get around that. That's how you get around that deflation, truly, man, because that feeling wanted to come upon me, as I felt that, inside, and I'm cleaning the windows, and some of the publishing people I know walk by and go, hey man, what you doing here? Like, they knew I was on path to like do a record deal with Sony Records, and they're like, why are you? And then they go in the gym, and it just like hits you, right? You're like, and you're embarrassed and whatever. But what I was like, you know what? I always go into this realm. I just like grit my teeth, and I just like start making cold calls, and I start knocking, and I'm just like, you know what? For me, and we remember this during high school, dude, when we would lift weights, and it was like a competition. Like, it was basically like people betting, like, you can't do that. You can't do that weight. And then we're like, oh yeah, like now I have a motivation to do it, and that's a lot deeper than just my own. So for me, I always had a bone to pick with the publishing world of music, in a way, because it's very political, and it's very politically correct, and it's just not a land that I'm completely. I don't buy into a lot of their thought processes. I'm a lot more conservative thinking as far as that goes, and it's a very liberal world. Music is. So they're just all about this nice chat, and they won't call you back, and all of these things that I just do. Like, if I'm not interested in your product, I'll call you back and I'll let you know I'm not interested in your product. That's just how a pro does it, right? That's how professionals work.
They're scared to be real like that. They're scared to be sincere and be genuine and be honest. And that's what it takes. That's integrity. That's staying true to yourself and being honest with them, and then showing that good character, which goes far and beyond of setting up your reputation. So you continue to do that, people will know you for it, and then people will vouch for you for people that you could potentially network with, and that grows. That's your reputation preceding you. And so nowadays it's just real hard for people to be real with themselves. We see so much fakeness out there. You definitely see it on like social media, where you got a guy taking a selfie next to a Lamborghini and aiming his, but he's sitting on it, and
but everybody thinks it's his, right?
Yeah, and then you got just people showing how happy they are, but that things are going on in their lives. You're just like, man, I live a pretty normal life. I got shit going on in the background, I know you do too. There ain't nobody that does that. And it's like, you don't get to see that type of that kind of side to someone. And I understand only wanting to show the good parts of your life, and celebrating that, and using social media as a platform to celebrate that. But I just wish people would be a little bit more real with themselves and say, hey, I learned a lot this year, I grew a lot this year, or something, instead of just oh, look at me and look what I did all the time. It kind of promotes that fakeness. And when you are fake like that, you attract people who are fake. And I don't know about you. Well, actually, I do know about you, but I also know about me. I definitely know about me. I want to be real so that I have people that are real with me, because I think that's why our friendship works out so great, is because we can be real with each other. You could tell me, and you're not afraid to tell me that I'm screwing up, and I'm not afraid to tell you that you're screwing up. I know I've called you before and said, no, man, you need to look at this, or you need to get this done, and I know you've done it to me too, and we kind of balance each other out. We're able to appreciate that about each other, but I think that's so rare. You got people more worried about your feelings than they do your progress, you
Well,
know?
man, think about it, right? Like, you think about the percentages, man, and I think that you're a guy who could definitely be a seven-figure earner. I think that it's a rare group who can present from stage, and if you know how to present from stage and you have that integrity and you have that work ethic, like there's a couple different things that you need, right? And when we're talking about me, who's like a very money motivated individual, like the 1%, right, is the 1% for a reason,
Yeah.
because the 1% is a pro. The 1% calls you back. The 1% says, nah, dog, I ain't with it. Like, they just tell you. The
Yeah.
1% just cold calls the hell out of it, right? The 1% does all of the hard stuff and does not create buffers to not go full send.
Yeah.
The 1% always goes full send. And that's why they have those things. Now, I'm not talking about inherited wealth. That's not the same. I'm talking about guys who are self-made,
Mm,
guys who have got it done. The world can probably portray them as, some billionaires or whoever. They're probably an asshole or whatever. No, they may be an asshole to you, but
yeah.
not their family, not their son, not their wife, right? And that's the way it usually goes when you get to know these people who are, just killing it, really killing it, and do own the Lamborghini and do own those, 12,000 square foot homes. And you sit with them and you talk with them and you're like, oh, okay, this guy just handles shit. It's like not even emotional. It's like, no, this is the next step in the process, and this is what we do. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's that easy.
Well,
So what?
exactly. It's that simple.
It's that simple. It's
It's
not easy.
I think that people get into it and they see the simplicity of it, and I tweeted this the other day. When people are introduced to the simplicity of a process that got someone successful, they look at it and they say, "Man, that's it." And it's maybe like mundane tasks or monotonous tasks,
It always
but
is.
it's productive tasks.
Yeah.
And you have to do those repetitiously. And people look at it, they can't get themselves to do that repetition so that they can see the success. They want to look for a secret or a shortcut, and I think that's why most people quit. The people that, I mean, there are a ton of people that get started. There's a ton of people that quit too. And like you mentioned, that 1%, I have a friend. His name is Chris Johnson out in California. He owns a watch company, and he's got a few courses as well. He said it's crowded at the bottom. So I mean, you get the 1% at the top, man. That's a lot of people at the bottom. There's just 1% up top,
Well, it's just them doing the hard thing, right? It's like you're a part of the 1% of like health and fitness. Like 1% literally of people get where you've gotten, as far as like bodybuilding and as far as how shredded and how aesthetic, you've been at your peak, in your peak moments. Like very few people can have the discipline to do that. Now, what I've also learned is that 1% of people are going to spend $2,000 a month, and it's not a lot of money. I just spend that much on marketing. But you know what I found is the difference is a lot of people deal with the tangible and intangibles, and especially in my world, right? Like they'll buy a new piece of equipment. They'll buy a new piece of, no problem, dude.
Oh, right.
10,000. I'll buy it, get it out there. It sits in the yard. They don't have any leads.
Yeah.
They don't have anybody calling, but they have a tangible piece of equipment, right? In this case, it would be a pressure washer that sprays water really well, but they're not going to come off of the intangibles, meaning that marketing money that you can't see or touch marketing. You can't see or touch the emails that are going out. It's an email. It's like, it's bytes, right? It's
Right.
binary code. But they have a problem spending thousands a month on things they can't touch, but that are going to garner them so much more money on the back end than that piece of equipment sitting in their yard, right? So it's like, that's where it comes down to me. My business and this world of the service industry is truly based on how much are you willing to spend on getting your website right and getting your marketing right. If you get those two right, man, like, you don't ever have to worry about leads. Like, now people just call every day to my business, and my guys are out of town. Like, I just take the calls and field the calls and go do some of the estimates and stuff, but it's like no one's in town to actually get the work done. So I just book it out and I go to the coffee shop and drink coffee and, like, it's like we've done a bunch of big jobs, commercial jobs here this winter, to where I'm able to dictate my time. And that's all because of the marketing and that intangible thing that you can't touch. Everybody wants something like give me a plan I can touch. They don't want to do the intangible things because, I don't know, maybe that's a Southern thing, or I don't know what that is. That's like a blue collar type mentality.
Maybe
I don't know what it is, but I know that a lot of guys are, man, how much does a website cost? Never going to pay that money. And you're like, bro, the website's going to change the game for you. Like, that's what you have to have. Yeah, well, that's $2,000. It's like, yeah, well, we got to come off of it. Like, if you want to move forward, right?
You're gonna get
so
an
I think
ROI.
intangibles get a lot of people snowed.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, you're gonna get an ROI off that website. It's like, okay, I mean, you got to put some skin into the game to expect anything back.
You got to.
But man, I want to say we've gone over a lot here. I think it's about time to wrap it up, and I just want to say thanks for coming on with me, man. I really appreciate it. I think we delivered some value, some valuable knowledge, some wisdom here with people. And I kind of want to ask you, Aaron, how can we find you? What else do you have out there if we ever needed to get in contact with you, or what type of products or anything that you have for people online?
Sure. Currently, I'm building out my sales products. Basically, how to do high ticket sales, how to build videos that sell with a lot of optics and positioning. There's a lot of subconscious things that go into selling high ticket anything. And we've really been able to master that in this world of services. But in any world, it can be tweaked. It's a lot of just the psychology and the optics that go in with some of the copy on your website, some of how the photos are run and how the videos are done. So those are what I'm building out currently. What I'll do is I'll just send you a link that you can put in the description that they can find my YouTube channel. And it'll have a lot of just pertinent stuff based on email automation and some of the stuff that we're building out for my business and for other companies as well. So
I know I keep on trying to recruit you into the Twitter sphere. Do you see that happening any time in the near future?
You dude, what's funny is I'm like verified on all that shit, and I need to. I know I don't even use it.
You got the blue check mark, huh?
Huh? I do. I got them on all of it. Instagram, Facebook, all of it. YouTube. I'm on Vivo, dude. I look back on some of that stuff and I'm blown away that, like, that kind of thing happened. But it's I'll get into the Twitter thing. You need to teach me how to use Twitter, because I don't know. I could probably be a troll on there or something.
I'm telling you, there's a lot of great people you can connect with, and a lot of people that I'm going to expose this video to are going to appreciate the value that we've shared here.
I'll give you my Twitter link, man. And if anybody wants to hit me up, and I can help anybody out with, like, autoresponders, Infusionsoft, anything copywriting, anything in that world of, Ericksonian language to persuasive copy. Like there's a lot of psychology that goes into some of this high ticket thing and whatever you're doing. And that's the world that I love. So if they hit me up, man, I'd love to check.
Okay, good deal. Well, man, again, thanks for coming on. We'll have to do this again sometime soon.
Let's do it, bro. All right. Thanks, Matt.
Talk to you soon.